The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Many have categorized this timeless story as a mere childhood fairy tale, and in a sense it is, but there is something much more intriguing. Let's take a look at the deeper meaning behind the story. Saint-Exupéry was a French novelist and pilot who grew up during World War I and fought as an Allied pilot during World War II. He loved flying and exploring, and his flying experiences have influenced many of his literary works. On his last flight mission, he vanished over the Mediterranean, never to be seen again. This was a man who loved people deeply, like his childhood friend, Leon Worth, to whom the book is dedicated to, as well as his mother and wife. Through his writing, he criticizes the ignorance of society and emphasizes the need for revival amidst an increasingly impersonal and evil world. The story of The Little Prince records the adventures of a childlike prince from an outer space asteroid who leaves his home in beloved Rose to visit various asteroids and finally arriving on Earth, where he meets the snake, fox, and the pilot who has crashed in the desert. In the end, he goes back to his Rose after being bitten by a snake. The book opens with the pilot as a kid drawing two pictures. One is a brown shapeless form that adults call a hat, while the other one is the explanation, an elephant inside a boa constrictor. The adults are unable to see what it is because they have lost their former perceptive innocence while growing up in society. The boa constrictor eating the elephant is a metaphor for adults destroying the innocence of children. Examples of the corrupt ways of adults include the various people the prince meets on his way to Earth, like the power-thirsty king, the very vain man, the depressed drunkard, the greedy businessman, the estranged lamplighter, and the geographer who doesn't even explore. Adults are so immersed in their selfish ways that they are blind to their evils. Saint-Exupéry believes that exploring in nature frees one from corrupted society to make one more susceptible to spiritual truth. Unlike typical adults, the prince explores the universe searching for truth. Even the pilot finds himself in the Sahara Desert where he crashes. It is here in the desert where both the characters learn the lessons of life. This is because society imposes flawed values onto people, and only when one is away from it all can one see the spiritual truths. The flowers, the hills, the sand dunes, they all bring true life. What exactly are these truths that the characters learn? First of all, let's take a look at the little prince's relationship with his Rose. She requires a lot of attention, but the prince doesn't mind taking care of her. She tells him that she is the only Rose in the universe, and the prince believes her. But when the Rose starts to get bothersome, the prince is itching to get off his asteroid and explore the universe. When he arrives on Earth, he sees a whole rose garden, which crushes his spirits. His Rose is not the only Rose in the universe after all. Later, he encounters a fox who wants to be tamed. In essence, he wants to be friends. So they do, but when it is time for the prince to leave, the fox tells him a secret.
What was the secret?
It's only with the heart that one can see clearly. What's essential is invisible to the eye.
And my flower wasn't like all those other flowers, because I'd fetched her a screen and put a glass bowl over her at night and listened when she grumbled, and now she was my Rose, and I was responsible for her.
The prince learns these truths easily because he comes from outside society. Therefore, he is not blinded to the truth. The pilot has a harder time to understand because he has been so immersed in society's ways. But by learning from the prince's experiences, he finally understands and is able to reconnect with his innocence. This shows that society needs outside enlightenment to reveal the flaws of man. Saint-Exupéry illustrates that the power of friendship fulfills the human thirst for love, which remedies the materialistic, shallow nature of society. True relationships are only made through effort, and sadly, society is unwilling to invest in something seemingly useless. Take the adults on the asteroids, for example, or the faceless anonymous roses in the garden. But friendship is so powerful that it can transcend physical absence and endure in one's memory.
All I want is to hear you laugh again.
You will hear me laugh more than you ever did before, because on one of those stars I'll be laughing, but you won't know which one, so they'll all be laughing, all the stars. It'll be like a bell that's hanging from every star in the sky.
As a result of this love, man can find salvation through Jesus. This may not be an interpretation that readers think of at first, but there are many parallels between the Prince and Jesus Christ. For example, both arrive on earth in the desert. There they bring enlightenment to man, not through merely preaching, but by showing the truth through their experiences. The pilot himself reflects of the water in the well that they find. That water was more than merely a drink. It was born of our walk beneath the stars, the song of the pulley, of the effort of my arms. It did the heart good, like a present. This alludes to the living water that Jesus offers like a present, and mankind only needs to accept it. This is shown in the prince's physical death in order to go back to the rose he loves. As the snake bites him, the prince falls onto the dunes. The calming blues, purples, and greens give the white dunes a sense of peace despite the physical death of the prince, which shows that this death has a divine purpose. The yellow in his clothes and the star shows that he will rise up to that star, defying death, which alludes to Jesus' death and resurrection on the cross for mankind. Only by believing in this can society be saved. Once touched by God's love, one is forever changed. As quoted from the Bible, we love because He first loved us. This is the solution to mankind's problems. St. Exupéry conveys to the little prince that in order to combat the corruption of society due to the loss of innocence of children, mankind must return to nature in order to be susceptible to the truth of salvation through friendship and God's love. Where there is love, there is hope for humanity.